Welcome back, everybody, to Pull Hook Golf, the podcast. I'm your host, Matt Cook. Tonight, we've got our co-host, Buttsy, with us remotely as well, coming in from his home in Chandler, Arizona. I'm over in Phoenix, and folks, we've got a hell of an episode for you tonight. I'm not even going to waste time going over what we're going to go over because this is the second leg that we're heading into of the FedEx Cup Championship. But before we do dive into all of that, I do want to give a shout out to Swannies Golf. Once again, keeping me fresh with the Swannies gear. Even when I went into PXG today there, Buttsy, to go pick up that tour driver. I was showing Buttsy before we jumped on air. If you are watching on YouTube or our live, I picked up the tour Black Ops driver that they built for me with the Ventus blue shaft. I mean, talk about having some blue balls. When you can't hit this thing, it's like giving you some blue balls not being able to hit this, because this thing is a gem. I was in there getting dialed in once again. Just by the way, hit 335 total on the track, man.
We've heard that a couple times, Matt.
Well, not on air. Well, actually, last week it was, what were the numbers last week that we were saying? Between 316 to 320, right? Because I threw out there 320 and you're like, 316. And I'm like, okay, that's fair.
Yep.
But this time, with it being fully dialed in, got the grip that I like on there, the whole 9 yards, 335. I hit just an absolute buzzer of a drive.
Just an absolute assassin.
So want to give them a thanks. But as I walked in, there were some guys hanging around, and I had a Swannies polo on. It was a different one than I'm wearing right now, but it's part of their, not their most recent release, but the second to most recent release, which was like a month ago. They were like, dude, what is that polo? That thing is sweet. I go, Swannies Golf. And they're like, what? Who? And I'm like, Swannies Golf. And they're like, oh, awesome. Thank you. So
we liked it.
They've definitely really liked it. Let's see. So with Swannies, folks, make sure to head over to swannies.co. People get this a little bit confused because they think it's .com. It is .co. Okay. So swannies.co. And this is part of the Tilted Tiki line, which is what I was wearing earlier as well. I was wearing the Kibbe polo. If you're on Swannies or take a look at Swannies, I was wearing the Kibbe polo. It is a lot better looking in person than it looks like on the website. And then the polo that I am wearing right now is, I don't even know how to pronunciate this necessarily. It's Haugen, Haugen polo. Haugen.
So, yeah, Haugen.
Yeah. I've also got the Jerry polo. God, there's some great stuff over at Swannies, but make sure, folks, utilize promo code PullHookGolf25 at checkout. All right. That way you get 25% off your entire order. They know that you're coming from the Pull Hook Golf podcast, and we get to keep bringing you entertainment every single week. Truck Golfer says Matt wanted it a few weeks ago. You got it. Love that. All right, let's go ahead and get started on the St. Jude Championship recap here, folks. And guess what? The winner was Hideki Matsuyama. Woo! Minus 17. So on paper, folks, it certainly looks like he wins by 2. No big deal. He had a 4-shot late at a point, like he was cruising along, had Xander Schauffele kind of chasing him down a little bit as Xander had a hell of a final round. We'll get to that in a moment. But then he almost blew it. This is the part that, if you weren't paying close attention watching the broadcast on Sunday, Hideki made it certainly very interesting because he decided to almost give it up. He went, get this, on hole 12, makes a bogey, then pars 13, bogeys 14, then makes a double bogey on 15. All of a sudden, he's about to blow the damn thing. We're watching Max Kraserman all over again, went week to week. And but Matsuyama, he's the grinder, man. He is a grinder. And they talked about it on the broadcast. I feel like anybody who is really tight within the golf community knows that Hideki Matsuyama is that guy who he's going to look for every piece of advice. He's going to grind all the time. He's always working on his putting, which remember we were talking about with the Olympics, how there was something off with his putting. Well, there wasn't anything off with his putting this week. I saw that.
No.
His stroke looks so damn good. And it just seems like he's one of these guys that once he gets it in rhythm and in flow, the putts start dropping. And he does have a pretty cool Scottie Cameron putter that he putts with. That's called a Craftsman. I learned that from Scottie Cameron's social media account. They did a good job with that little clip after he won. And
not cheap.
Yeah, not cheap. But
Not cheap.
Matsuyama, the grinder that he is, finishes with back-to-back birdies to win by 2 on the last 2 holes. Okay. Now, do you remember all the stories about his caddy?
No.
Like
What about
Matsuyama,
him?
I think we have been robbed of one hell of a personality just because he's Japanese and he can't really like be out there so boisterous and everything. But I think Matsuyama is a secret character. I think he has a huge personality.
Yeah. When you talk about Chick-Fil-A, I mean, there it is.
He said his secret to success was Chick-fil-A on Saturday. He had it before winning the next day. And he said, as soon as I get to Colorado, I am going to have some Chick-fil-A. So good on you, Matsuyama, for working on that Chick-fil-A sponsorship.
Absolutely.
But
Closed on Sunday, but
his caddy is even a bigger character. So at the Masters, there's that famous shot of him. But he is very much a character as well. I wish I could remember some of the stories off the top of my head of him, but I do know, especially in talking with PGA Tour caddies, that his caddy is a hoot. So
you don't see them joking with each other though on the golf course, do you?
Matsuyama's too serious. He's too serious.
You don't see any laughing or little jokes, in Japanese. I mean, that's not happening.
Yeah, and here's the thing. He is no Max Gracerman. That's for sure. That was from Trot Golfer. I love that because he's not. I mean, Matsuyama is the guy who, I don't know why he doesn't win more. He's won 5 times on tour. Obviously wins the St. Jude Championship. Was playing well at the Olympics. I do think that he is a threat coming into Colorado. But we'll get into that a little bit more as we discuss. But the runner-ups were Xander Schauffele, who had a hell of a final round, shot a 63.
63, yeah. Wow.
And then Viktor Hovland.
The Hove starting to find some form, perhaps.
That's what's interesting about Hovland is this is the time of year that last year when he went on that run and ended up winning the FedEx Cup.
Yeah.
So
now
watch out.
Yeah, when we're going to talk about that, I think I saw that in the notes that you win the last event and that whole deal, right? We're going to get into that. Some of Scottie's weighing in on that.
We will. We'll get into that in just a second. That's actually next on the agenda. We've got, though, Xander Schauffele shoots a 63 in the final round, and I definitely feel like Xander has figured out something on Sundays. The only time that he didn't have it was at the Olympics. He kind of struggled on that Sunday. Granted, a lot more pressure, and you got the pressure of your country, and you've got the whole John Rahm situation where John Rahm all of a sudden started beating him. He's a LIV guy. Wondered if that started getting into his head a little bit. But Xander Schauffele just looks super comfortable on Sundays. And that is a really good thing for him, especially heading over to Castle Pines for the second leg of this FedEx Cup. But Viktor Hovland, once again, like you mentioned, he is starting to gain some form. If he didn't shoot an opening round 70, he probably wins the damn thing. He ended up shooting 63, 66, 66. Yeah.
He's finding some shape in his golf game for certain.
Completely.
We're going to see some more closure out of him in the near future. I think he's going to start winning a lot of golf tournaments, if I had to guess.
I agree. Now, Scottie Scheffler, he finished in 4th place, and he finished at -14. Scottie Scheffler, he did not have his A game. I don't even know if you could call it his B game that he had.
Where was the weakness, or was it just kind of I didn't see a whole
He's
lot
just
of it. Was
off.
it just kind of all around?
Yeah, he's just off. It's a weird thing to watch him. Like, the irons weren't super precise, which, if you know Scottie Scheffler's game, his ball striking is unreal, and the guy knows his yardages to a T. Like, he can call it in the air and be within like a yard or two of how far he actually hit it. So when he's missing the actual yardages and coming up short, you know that he's mishitting some shots. So that for me was Scottie Scheffler, maybe B- game, maybe even C+ game. But for him to be able to still finish fourth, what is that telling us about Scottie Scheffler right now?
I mean, yeah, we're sitting here literally saying the guy played like trash and he's in the top 5, right?
It's ridiculous. He's fourth place.
So, yeah, I mean, it's like he shot 80, 80, 80, 80 or something. Like, that's how we're heralding his performance. But, yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, to say that he was so far off and he still finishes in the top 5, there you have it.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, he's scary.
I completely agree.
That's crazy. It's crazy to say the guy absolutely shit the bed and he's in the top 5.
Yeah, and
that's insane.
What do you think about Scottie Scheffler being a little moody and showing a little bit of personality with the media around the whole FedEx Cup? Remember, he lost it in the final events to Viktor Hovland last year, but Viktor Hovland also went back-to-back victories to win. And I'm curious what your thought is around him criticizing the branding of the FedEx Cup being called the season-long race. He's like, this isn't the season-long race because all you have to do is win the last 2 events and you're going to win the FedEx Cup.
Well, is there a point system that's given to each event? I'm sure it's weighted as you get near the end, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If you're in the top 10 all year and then you win the last one, you're probably going to win it. But I don't think you could win the FedEx Cup if you weren't even on the map and then you catch lightning in a bottle and win the last event, right? Like, so I don't know. Is it true what he was pissed about, or is that a shot at what happened to him? I don't know.
So here's my thoughts around it. And I've had this conversation with multiple people now. I wanted to wait till we were on the show to have this conversation with you to kind of see where your head was at as well. But it is like, think of every other sport. Like, if you all of a sudden have the best season ever, let's say the Patriots, for instance, when they were undefeated going into the Super Bowl with the New York Giants, and all of a sudden the New York Giants beat them and win the Super Bowl. And all of a sudden, the Patriots season, doesn't matter if they were undefeated. Like, they didn't all of a sudden get the Super Bowl because of it. So there was one year in particular, and this is why it's weighted the way that it is because there was one year that Vijay Singh won, and all he had to do in the Tour Championship was show up. That is a nightmare from a media standpoint, from a content standpoint. You really don't want them to go into that final round. And here's the other thing. It's like, you get a lead in the Tour Championship. And Austin actually just brought this up in the chat. Remember, there is a difference with how many strokes you start with. So remember, in that final event, you start off, so Scottie Scheffler is going to start off 10 under par, right? And then it goes down from there. So you have to be within the top 5 really to really give yourself a chance at winning that damn thing. But I don't know if there's a better way of doing it.
It's like a NASCAR event. Like, that seems pretty fair to me, man. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't know. Has Scottie criticized anything up until this point?
Not really, man. Like, it's funny, but Drunk Golfer said he's settling into becoming a father. That could be a good point. He might be a little bit low on sleep. He might not be as super kind of... And I wouldn't even say that Scottie Scheffler was super polished previously, but Scottie Scheffler always kind of kept his mouth shut, right? Scottie Scheffler didn't really say a whole lot. He didn't really share his opinions all that much, and now we're starting to see it, and I like it.
He's finally filled up his bucket with enough stuff in his life to have something to bitch about.
Exactly.
Like, okay. All right. Funny. That's what I was going to say. You're saying he criticized the media, and I was like, what? Like, I didn't catch it. I heard about it, but I don't think he's ever done that. I don't scoop to myself now. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Really good.
No, he criticized the branding of the FedEx Cup because he really had a tough time with the whole season-long race of the branding of the FedEx Cup. That's just going out to the fans. Like, it doesn't change anything. So he really had an issue with that. And obviously he lost last year, and that was a big problem for him. So, yeah, I mean, good for Scottie for actually saying something, in my opinion.
I guess, yeah. But, when you look at the actual schematics of how it plays out, I don't know. That seems pretty fair. You're basically playing the whole season at this point to get your pole position, right? And how you start the last event. So
that's right.
I don't know. That seems kind of cool. Like, all right, you're really actually playing to figure out what you're going to start at in the last event, and then you got to get it done from there. How else are you supposed to wait a golf tournament though? Like, that's the thing. So.
And here's the thing. A lot of people are like, oh, well, you're going to start at 10 under. Basically, there's only going to be 5 or 6 guys that are going to have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is, man. Like, you got to be, if you're starting at 10 under, like you said, it's kind of like NASCAR. It's kind of like F1. You get a pole position and you get that very start that you need ahead of everybody else. And you should be able to, if you are the best player, and we shall see, obviously, as we get into that final tournament. I've got some more thoughts on that, but that's going to come in a little bit. We also had, as we're going down this leaderboard, Sam Burns and Nick Dunlap. Now, Nick Dunlap just turned pro this year, obviously his rookie year. Both of them finished at 13 under. Sam Burns, to me, he's just a solid player with a load of talent. I don't know if there is more to say about Sam Burns than that. I just don't see him as an elite player, though. It's weird.
I agree with you. He's not somebody that routinely pops in my head as a pick, as somebody that comes up in conversation when you're talking about the PGA Tour. But he's there. Like, he's kind of sneaky in there, right? Like, he always kind of ends up hovering around. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's his name. Maybe his name is just so lackluster that we don't think about it. I don't know. Sam Burns. I don't know.
Sam Burns.
I don't really have an opinion on it. It's weird though.
It is weird because when he actually wins, he looks super freaking impressive. But then, like, I was watching him over the weekend, and I'm just like, man, I just don't love Sam Burns' game when he, like, there's these mistakes that he makes that you're just, like, shaking your head. And I don't know, like, he's not a super young guy anymore. Like, he's mid-20s. That's normally when you have figured it out on the PGA Tour. And I just don't quite know where he's at. But, Dylan Vaudry says Sam may be a career dark horse.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a career dark horse, just kind of, I don't know. You could say Tom Hogue or like Scott Stallings was that guy for me previously. Maybe it's Sam Burns now.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? Guess what? I just realized because of Dylan Vaudry, and we've got a lot of people still on YouTube, is that YouTube's back up and running, folks. Ever since you switched your TV from the PGA Tour to LIV Golf because PGA Tour rebroadcasting rights. Unbelievable. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, it's kind of
that's confirmation now.
Yeah, it's a compliment, really.
Yeah, love that. Yeah. Now, Truck Golfer mentions Nick Dunlap. Where was he last year? US AM. He's big time. I agree.
Yes, he is big time.
Let's get into Nick Dunlap because I'm kind of done with Sam Burns for the moment. Sam Burns is
we don't even want to keep talking about Sam Burns. That's how crazy this is. We're going to call it the curse of Sam Burns.
It is the curse of Sam Burns. Nick Nowitzki says that's wild. Dylan Vaudry had said great work, Buttsy, with changing the TV, but or getting us suspended on the stream for a little bit. But I didn't even think about it. That's what's crazy about it. But let's get into Nick Dunlap. All right. Nick Dunlap, he said that this was the most stressful tournament he's ever played in his life. Now, granted,
I saw that.
He was a guy towards the back in terms of the top 70 players. So he needed a big week in order to move on to Colorado to the second leg of this. And he ended up getting it done. But he was right there, like heading into the final round Sunday as one of the main guys. So
yeah,
he's
and
good.
He was shook. He's really good, dude. How old is he?
How old is? I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know how old Nick Dunlap is because did he go to school for the 4 years? Obviously just came. He won the USAM the year prior. So yeah, I'm not quite sure. Trot Golfer says we get 3 strikes in a year with the suspensions on YouTube. So.
Well, note, we learned something tonight. Somebody's watching, and whoever you are, thank you for your service, first and foremost. Sorry.
That's incredible.
And enjoy the LIV Tour, ladies and gentlemen. We can let them watch that godforsaken tour, but not us. Not us. That's fucking funny.
That's unbelievable. Okay, so yeah. I'm still stuck on it, but we're going to keep it moving. Nick Dunlap, this guy has an incredible wedge game. Like, if you're watching him out there, when he gets a wedge in his hands, that thing is being stuck. And that's how you play. I mean, if you can pipe the ball down there 330, and you can essentially get into wedge distances at a lot of these tracks, you're going to have a hell of a freaking, not only career, but you're going to have a great time out there on the PGA Tour, and you're going to have a really long career. And then if you can drain some putts on top of that, and that's the thing, Nick Dunlap has the game. He's only 20 years old, Trot Golfer says.
20. What the fuck? He has arrived, folks. He has arrived. That explains the extreme nerves, but you know, that's either a shit or get off the pot situation, especially at that age. And it looks like he's going to go that way. And that's not going to be that time that he tilts down and has to figure it out and come back at 23, 24. Like, he's already there.
He's already there. Let's get into the T7s. So my guy, Wyndham Clark and Robert MacIntyre finished at 12 under. Watch out for Wyndham Clark. We're heading back to Colorado, where he grew up. His personal trainer is there this week with him because I got canceled for Friday. So he's like, yeah, this is the last PGA Tour event that he's having me out to. So I'm going up to Colorado. I was like, dude, what a better place than Castle Pines. So I know he's jazzed about heading up there. And Wyndham looks confident again. The Olympics, I think, helped out when he had that terrible start and then played great otherwise. I think that built a lot of confidence in Wyndham Clark. And so Trot Golfer, he throws in there, personal trainer, he needs a media coach.
Yes, he does.
I will say this, like, he is starting to really not only show his personality, but like they did a piece, and I don't know if you caught this or not, Buttsy or Trot Golfer, but they did a piece with him because of him going back home. They posted it on social media. I don't know how much of the clip that they actually like shared, but like they did a media piece with him. And I think it's good for him to be able to kind of tell his story a little bit more because he does have a really good story. I know you guys shit on him. Obviously, Buttsy, you don't like his face.
It's just for good fun. I mean, come on. Like I said, if I saw the guy, I'd probably say I was.
You're like, you're my favorite player.
Yeah, but maybe we helped him out. You know, maybe he's the one that reported us tonight, and also, having said what we've said, and obviously poked a couple buttons, maybe we got him back on track. You know?
Yeah.
Wyndham, are you out there? Did you do this?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Trot Golfer says, so heartwarming. Love that. Now, Robert MacIntyre, as we move away from Wyndham Clark here, because I can tell this is going to go. I'm not going to win this battle when it comes to Wyndham Clark with you guys, okay? Now, Robert MacIntyre, this dude, he continues to impress me. He just looks like Joe Schmo from Scotland coming over, Like, and he just plays really good golf as a lefty too. And like,
Yeah.
that's one that I'm just like, why does he play so good?
I mean, I'm partial, obviously.
Are
But
you?
yeah,
As
just
a
a little.
lefty.
Yeah, and I like his game. He plays some wild golf shots. He moves the golf ball too.
He
He curves
does.
it. He curves it left to right and right to left. I've seen him hit driver off the ground a few times. God, I watched him a couple years. Yeah, some really good par five player. And he's probably like the left-handed Sam Burns because like they're kind of right here equally on like we don't think about them until they're there. Like not like Robert McIntyre's having a great season. No, he's literally got to be leading a golf tournament. Yeah, they don't show a lot of them either.
They don't. I just
I
realized when I
love him.
pulled up that last comment that it completely like took away your mouth. Sorry about that. Uh, I don't even know where I was going to go with that after that, but Robbie Mack, the dude he plays golf, man.
Amazing.
And he's crafty. That's what I'll say about him. That makes more sense.
He's
He
a
is a
craftsman.
crafty golfer, and I love
Yeah.
that about him. And I love seeing him play well, like top 10. Great job, Bobby Mack. Now, in ninth place, which is interesting, was Denny McCarthy. He finished at 11 under. Early
I
on,
don't know
he
who the
got
fuck
off
that is.
to Denny McCarthy.
I don't know who that is.
He's literally, outside of Cam Smith, the best putter on the planet. If there wasn't Cam Smith, Denny McCarthy would be that guy. Denny's an athlete. I believe he played basketball in high school, which, again, that kind of doesn't really matter. But he doesn't necessarily look like an athlete. He's not the biggest guy in the world. But his ball striking needs to be better in order for him to be elite. Because, again, his putting stroke, this guy can make everything.
Wow. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to get a little more involved in his life. Do
I-
some estudiant.
Definitely a guy that you could look into, and I think you would enjoy watching him play as well. It's just some of the tee shots and stuff get a little wayward. Some of the iron shots aren't super precise, and his putting saves him in a lot of ways. Trot Golfer is asking, who was T10? So that's next. Here we go. Your guy, Billy Horschel there, Trot Golfer. You and that guy, who is it? Pro Golf Critic or whatever, the guy who just is such a live homer. He also has an issue with Billy Horschel, but Billy Horschel and Seamus Power finished 10 under. Seamus Power. Seamus.
Seamus. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, Seamus, get down and get some milk from the goats.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry.
Now, I did catch, by the way, and Trot Golfer just mentioned this, that Billy giving Keegan Bradley a call. Okay? So Billy might be working his way towards a Ryder Cup spot. Watch out for Billy Horschel, man. Again, he's back with his caddy, his longtime caddy. And those guys just click. They look great out there. So watch out for that. And by the way, his caddy has been on the Pull Hook Golf podcast before, so you can go back into the archives and listen to that episode because he wasn't with Billy at the time, and we did talk a little bit about Billy Horschel. So Trot, you might want to go find that episode. You might enjoy that one. But T12.
John, why are you such a damn Billy fan? Is it because you guys are built identically? Is that the deal? Is there some?
I thought it was the other way. I thought Trot Golfer didn't like Billy.
I thought he loved him.
I know. I think he hates him. Trot, can you?
No, he hates the fucking putter anchor master.
Well, I know that, but I think he also hates Billy Horschel as well. He's got his
He's
pom
got
poms going.
multiple- Oh, okay.
Yeah,
He's got.
see?
He's got a list of hatred. All right.
Yeah.
I just got to remember this. I got to start writing down who the audience members are about. I'll get better.
Now, as we get further into this, now a quick word from our sponsor. Swannies is here with a fresh take. Performance-based materials are a given these days. But if you're looking for the stretchiest and most lightweight pieces that deliver a look that says, I'm here for a good time, take a walk on the Swannies side. With fabric sourced from recycled plastics and designs sourced from our very own weekend warriors, Swannies is looking out for both our planet and those that need a little style to boost their drive another 15 yards. Premium looks from top to bottom at swannies.co. Because we did have a suspension on YouTube there briefly. So that being said, Maverick McNealy finished T12 alongside of Patrick Cantlay, Akshay Bhatia, Will Zalatoris. I mentioned Patrick Cantlay last week as kind of an outsider who started playing well towards the end of the year this year, and we shall see if he's got anything in the tank. Will Zalatoris was a good surprise. I mean, obviously you were dreaming about the brown praying mantis in Akshay Bhatia last week.
I was.
Did not lead to a victory, but it did lead to a top 15.
Eating the bird feed and yeah.
That was my favorite clip from last week. That was phenomenal.
I hope it recurs. I hope it happens again. I hope Akshay comes to me in a dream again. God knows what he'll be doing this time, but it was a pretty special moment in my life. So
fingers crossed on that.
Yeah.
Will Zalatoris, also good to see him back playing some decent golf. And then we got the Aussies. The Aussies and Adam Scott, Jason Day, and Cam Davis all moved on. However, Minwoo Lee did not. Is that a surprise to you that Minwoo Lee did not?
I don't know what's going on with Minwoo Lee. What's your take on Minwoo? He's not cooking.
I like his game. I really do. With Minwoo, I think he needs a little bit better of a short game, like around the greens more so than anything. I know he's got a ton of talent, and people are going to be like, but I said this about Wyndham Clark before he won, that like for the first time. I'm like, Wyndham Clark needs to tighten up from like 75 yards and in. If he can do that, he's going to be great. Then Max Homa comes out like the next week and says that Wyndham Clark's short game is one of the best he's ever seen. And I'm like, what the hell?
Well, there's that.
And then all of a sudden, like a couple further weeks later, Wyndham Clark ends up winning. So yeah, it was pretty interesting to see that, but I feel the same way about Minwoo Lee. Like there's moments to where his short game looks so good and he's got the skills, but he just doesn't have the consistency there. I feel like he drives the ball beautifully, hits it a country mile for being such a skinny dude. Yeah. And iron game looks good. Like there's nothing that really stands out like that except for the short game. So, and that's where some of these younger guys just need to tighten it up, and they will end up being there. So Minwoo Lee was a little bit of a surprise that he's not moving on to the BMW Championship. I feel like he's had a good year. He's had his moments. At the Rocket Mortgage Classic, he almost came through with the victory there. I think he finished in a tie for second, if I'm not mistaken. And then we've got Jordan Spieth, who, what a disappointing year for Jordan Spieth. Once again, he has been on the downward trend ever since Augusta 12. And this year it was all about a wrist injury that is going to lead immediately to surgery. And then he's going to figure it out from there, apparently. What's your take on Jordan Spieth? We ever going to see him come back to prominence?
Yeah, I think we talked about this before. He's going to be one of those guys that was hot, like you said, major blunder meltdown. I think we talked about Rory too, and if he would suffer the same fate of kind of fading for a little while. But I think that's what it's going to be. It's just going to be a little fade for a little bit. A couple years will go by. It's not like he's old. He'll resurface. He'll have a breakthrough probably at some shit event once the wrist is healed up. And we'll be like, oh my God, he's back in form, and
we hope.
You know what I mean?
We hope, because Jordan Spieth is one of the players that we miss on tour right now. That we love.
I think he's going to win again.
Yeah,
I think that's what you're asking. I think he'll win again. I don't know how dominant he'll be. He was dominant, right? Like there was a stretch there where he was pretty hot. JT, same kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe they need to stop hanging out so much,
Jordan Spieth, though, he came out with such moxie. You know what I mean by moxie? Like he had that clutchness to him.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he was hot. He was dominant. Like he had that feeling like this guy's going to get it done.
It was one of those moments. Sorry, go ahead.
No, like maybe not quite what we're seeing out of Scheffler, but definitely heralded on the same podium, I think, as him, right? Like he was good as shit.
I agree.
So yeah.
Jordan Spieth reminds me a little bit, and this was funny because this was an event at the Masters that I was speaking with Scott Van Pelt from ESPN, and Scott ends up talking about one of the guys that was there asked him about Tiger Woods at the time, and this is going back 6 years ago or so, and she's like, "What do you think happened to Tiger as to like his downturn that Tiger went through?" Obviously, after all the scandals and everything, Tiger was not playing well. Remember when he had the yips with chipping and was sculling chip shots over the green and everything? So Scott Van Pelt put it really, really good with the perfect analogy, in my opinion. And I think the same thing of Jordan Spieth. So for Tiger Woods, it was the fact that when Tiger Woods was on top of the world, he was Superman. He'd go to the top of a high-rise building in Manhattan, and he would just, without thinking, just jump off, and he knew he would fly, right? However, after all the scandals and everything, he realized that he wasn't invincible. And so Scott put it this way. He went to the top of the buildings, and now, instead of just jumping and flying off, he looks down and wonders, if I jump off, am I going to fly? Or am I going to fall? And
that's good. That's a good way to look at it.
And that to me is Jordan Spieth after hole 12 at Augusta National. Up until that point, Jordan Spieth just knew, I'm always going to be like under pressure. I'm going to come through. I'm going to be right there.
He didn't even know the shock was so great. He didn't even know he was capable of that kind of failure.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. And a little side piece here. So this past weekend, I was up in Prescott, and we had some drinks. We were sitting on the patio, and I won't say the name, but with a certain PGA Tour caddy. And I kind of looked over at him and I said, "So what do you think about these rumblings of like people comparing Scheffler to Tiger?" And he just turned and looked at me like he saw like so much hatred filled his eyes. And he's like, "Are you fucking kidding?" Like it was just a complete and utter, here comes all the stats. Here comes like the fucking conversion, the clutch rating, like all this crazy shit that I didn't even know about. And he's like, "So fucking no." Like that guy, he's gonna win like for another 10 years straight to even sniff him. So
I'm so glad you brought that up because we did add that little caveat when we talked about Scheffler's dominance. And when was the last time we saw that type of dominance? It was with Tiger Woods. We weren't necessarily comparing him to Tiger Woods, but it's the best stats that we've seen, strokes gained and so forth since Tiger. Yeah. But Tiger is on a different level than everybody. And that's the toughest thing is like, when you look and try to compare, it's like what they do in basketball with LeBron James and Michael Jordan. There is no comparison there. LeBron's had a phenomenal career, is probably number 2, but Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. And that's kind of like when you say that to somebody that got to witness, and I bet you the gentleman that you're speaking of probably got to witness some Tiger stuff during the Tiger era, and that like Scottie Scheffler on the golf course is nowhere near as dominant or as scary as Tiger Woods was.
Well, there was like a stat I saw today. Like if you combined Scottie's iron game with the, another most elite tour players like Cam Smith's putting conversion rate and then somebody else's driving accuracy, and you put them all together, it equaled like 3.41. If you put them in their best months on tour, like together for a stat, and Tiger's career was like 3.45. So like they said, there's never been like a better all around, all encompassing player in one package without a downfall. That's kind of what they're saying. But yeah, I didn't mean to we got way off there.
I love that little side action that we had there. That's pretty insightful because again, like we've talked about it. It's like you kind of have to compare them, but at the same time, is there an actual comparison? Clearly that caddy felt like, no, there is not, and that's offensive.
No, and I asked him, I was like, is this something that's shared out there? And he was like, yeah, like everybody's hearing that rumor, and everybody out there is like, fucking out of your mind. Like even Scheffler knows that people are out of their mind making that comparison. That's why he's probably not very vocal about how he's doing.
Yeah. There was something to Tiger Woods with the fear factor, right? That you come down Sunday and you're going up against Tiger Woods. Almost everybody folded around Tiger Woods because they felt that pressure and that fear of what Tiger could do. And that's the thing. Like Scottie is just Scottie. Scottie is so good and his game is so good, but there's nothing crazy special that he does that nobody else can do, in my opinion.
Just a really fucking, and he's probably one of the best iron players that I've seen.
Yeah, I agree.
In a long time, I would say that. But yeah, like length and short game and, you know, clutch putts made. Nothing super crazy about any of that.
No.
Right? That he does better than everybody. So, yeah, the iron play, though, which is a huge part of it.
A perfect segue, though, of being under a fear-type situation. Tom Kim, disaster, last 3 holes of the St. Jude Championship, and it cost him his entry into the BMW. He was perfect. He was in, and then all of a sudden he goes bogey, double, double to finish. And the pressure, you certainly, like, if you go bogey and, like, I rewatched it with Tom Kim, and like the bogey was just a bogey, okay? Then the doubt started creeping in. You could kind of see it. And what hit me, and you heard it from Nick Dunlap about this was the most stressful tournament that he's ever played in. Tom Kim, because I don't think everybody knows that if you get into the top 50 for the FedEx Cup. So if you advance to the BMW Championship, this is the first year that next year in the Signature Series events, you're in all of them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Tom Kim would have been in all of the Signature Series events. So this was a huge deal this year. That's why it was like super important for everybody. Like the St. Jude Championship actually mattered this year, where in like years past, it really hasn't. At least I haven't felt like it mattered. And seeing some of these guys crumble like a Tom Kim, because you know me, I'm a huge Tom Kim fan, and that was shocking.
No, I am too.
Because he's normally very clutch, but he's normally clutch coming down the stretch of trying to win, going up against an invisible opponent in trying to make it into the top 50. It's a little bit different of a pressure.
Yeah, that's wild. Oh, hey, babe, can I get a Coke Zero? Can you get a chance up here?
Get that order. It's like when we are out at the golf facilities and everything doing the podcast. You're like, hey, can I get one more, please? One more.
Oh, yeah.
Love that.
Tommy Kim, though, his ice cubes melted.
They did. Yeah. So talking about Tom Kim not going to the BMW Championship, let's get into the BMW Championship preview. Let's preview this bad boy, huh? What do you say?
Come on.
Let's do it. So, course is, and if you watched last week, you know that I'm jazzed up about the Castle Pines Golf Club in Castle Rock, Colorado. Folks, this is an unbelievable course. If you're watching on YouTube or on Twitter, right behind me is Castle Pines. And you know what it reminds me of in a lot of ways is Chaparral Pines. When we go up
I thought that's what you had behind you, to be honest.
I figured you would.
Earlier, I was like, is that 15? And then I saw the waterfall there. It looks very similar. Real tight. Some elevation, right? So
it's true. Now, 6,500 feet is going to be a little bit different for all the players. And here's the other part to it. This is the longest golf course on the PGA Tour. It's a par 72 at 8,130 yards. Now, before everybody goes crazy,
8,130 playing 7,400. Yeah, balls are going to fly 375 off the box. I mean, we're going to see a lot of 400-yard balls.
Yeah, I'm not going to gaslight everybody and be like, oh, my God, this is going to be the hardest thing ever because it's 8,130 yards. No, it's at 6,500 feet of elevation. You're going to see Rory McIlroy potentially hit something 380, 400 maybe. Like, could we see a 400-yard drive this week?
Oh, I was just going to say, I think you're going to see a multitude of them. You're going to see a bunch of them. Depending on, I mean, are there a lot of holes where that's an option, right? Full out rip driver, a couple par fives, right? They got to be playing over 600 yards. I don't know. You're also going to see people hitting gap wedge 150. So, I don't know. It goes both ways. Just like when we go play Shap.
Yeah.
That's not 6,500 by any means, but it's still a club farther that the ball goes than in the desert.
Yeah, Trot Golfer said Rory flew one today, 371. So flew
That's
them.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
So,
They're gonna.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of 3-woods going 325, 330. I mean, it's gonna be stupid.
This course was designed by Jack Nicklaus, which Nicklaus is really becoming renowned for his golf courses. You know what I mean? Like, I never, like, growing up and everything, I never really thought of Jack Nicklaus golf courses as being the top golf courses. And I to be honest with you, I don't love a lot of Jack Nicklaus golf courses. There's a few that I do love. Tom Fazio, that's more my style for the Fazio designs, or a Reese Jones, or some of these guys that, put the golf course right in front of you and kind of say, hey, come play it. Like, it's going to be difficult whether you like it or not. But everything's right in front of you. There's no trickery. Where with Jack, there's some different kind of beast to it. Ibiza. So with that said, we've got the top 50 players that are there for the FedEx Cup Tour Championship. And here's the thing, folks. The final 30 players will go on after this week to the Tour Championship in East Lake in Atlanta, Georgia. So that is your quick little BMW Championship preview. Again, I'm jazzed for this golf course because they haven't played this in quite some time. This was obviously not where they played it last year. They're not going to play here again next year. It's going to be a revolving door of new golf courses that are coming. But that being said, let's go over the field analysis and betting odds for this week. So,
shoot it.
We got Scottie Scheffler at plus 330. That one seems pretty obvious. Xander Schauffele plus 550. Rory McIlroy, who had a tough week last week and kind of quit out there, he was plus 1,200. Colin Morikawa, we saw a lot of him really grinding out on the driving range. He's definitely working on some stuff. I feel like his swing was so in form, and over the past couple of weeks, including the Olympics, just has not been the same form that he's had. He's been a little bit off. So I think he's trying to work back into that form. Hideki Matsuyama and Viktor Hovland at plus 1,800. I like those two this week, personally.
Yeah.
But we'll get into our picks in a second. Patrick Cantlay at plus 2,000. So the odds makers are starting to see that Patrick Cantlay is starting to play good. Ludwig Åberg, who was my pick last week, was really disappointing. I don't know if he has fully recovered from the knee injury that he has been dealing with.
You think that's plaguing him still a little bit? Do you see any signs of that?
I just don't see him. I'm assuming, I don't have any intel from anybody, but just watching him play this past week, just felt like there was something a little bit off with his game, and I feel like it could be that lingering injury.
Okay. That's fair.
So from there, and Trot Golfer, by the way, he said the first guy on the range this week was Colin Morikawa. Did see that, as he's clearly working on stuff. So that's going to be interesting. Keep an eye on Colin Morikawa this week. And if he doesn't play really well this week, watch him next week. Because again, he's trying to work his way back into the form that he was previously. Tommy Fleetwood is plus 2,500. And actually, quick segue here. Before we get to the final people. When we talk about getting back into form, it's funny how these guys, they work a lot off of feel. It's not like they're working with their instructors every single week. A lot of people think that. Like, normally they'll have their instructor out there from time to time, especially at majors, just to make sure that all their fundamentals are sound and everything.
Yeah.
It's not like they're traveling with them every single week, but if something pops up, they're going to give them a call. They're going to shoot them a text. I remember S.H. Kim was actually taking videos during his practice round and sending them off to his instructor in South Korea to get some insights and so forth as to what he was seeing. So that's where once something gets a little bit off, they start reworking and going back to certain drills and techniques. And we even saw Colin Morikawa out there at the driving range with hitting golf shots one-handed.
Yeah. A little checkup from the doctor, basically. You don't go to the doctor every day.
You don't.
Yeah.
The other thing I saw that was interesting as well is that there was a post recently about the US Am and the U.S. Amateur Players, and we'll get to that in a second, but they weren't using alignment sticks. And they're like, isn't this supposed to be like the number one thing you're supposed to use as a amateur golfer when warming up or at the driving range? Aren't you supposed to use alignment sticks for your alignment? And it was interesting because they started asking the players, and they said, no, I'm working on feel. Like before a tournament round, I want to feel where I'm at.
You're going to be pretty close, and you're also setting yourself up for more success when you don't have a stick when you get out to the golf course. Like, it's got to be the same. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to get into myself, but alignment stick when you're working on mechanics, I think, and shit like that, and then take that thing away when you're actually trying to fire golf shots and use what's visually in front of you to perform,
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Two different things, right? It's training, working on the mechanics and training at the driving range, that you're going to use an alignment stick. When you're practicing pre-tournament or pre-round, probably not going to use an alignment stick at that point because you want to start working on your feel. And that's one of the biggest things that I would recommend to anybody that is trying to get back into form or trying to work their way. Like, I'm going to be playing in a member guest this weekend. So I started the practice last night. I was at the driving range working on stuff, and you got to start to get the feel back. That's the first thing that I do. So even when I was camping this past week, and I said I was catching up on stuff because I went up towards Flagstaff in Arizona, went camping for the weekend to get away. Came back early Sunday, watched the golf and so forth. But that being said, I had a golf club with me. Was I actively trying to hit shots and so forth while I was camping? No. I just had a club in my hands and just feeling my grip and looking at the face.
The fire.
Yeah, I mean, that's helpful too. But yeah, it's feel for me. You got to get the feel back and really start getting back to knowing where the club face is.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. People don't actually know. Like what you just said, though, before we finish that little bit, people don't realize how valuable that is. Anybody out there, and you guys all play a lot, but if you don't have a lot of time to practice, just sitting on your couch at night with your club in even in your strong hand, your lead hand only, you're sitting there and just grabbing it and working on where you want it on the pad of your hand all the time. It fucking makes a difference, dude.
It does. And looking at your grip. Looking at your grip and then looking where the club face is and starting to understand that relationship between your grip and your club face. I think beginner golfers or people that are just working on stuff that's one of the biggest things is just understanding what grip you're holding the club with and where the club face is in relation to that grip.
Yep.
Now,
there's a lot of them are still trying to find that though, right? So that's probably a little trivial, but
Trot Golfer, who is a golf professional, just brought up that start chipping it around the course. Chips from 150, 1 or 2 extra clubs. And I will say that I was over at Grass Clippings, which is the lighted golf course. And it's the lighted par 3 course at night, but they've got a driving range. Kind of reminds me of a little tin cup. It's all dirt. And then you got some barrels. You got a golf cart out there to try to hit. And half the time I wasn't even hitting full shots. Half the time I was working on hitting low punch shots and trying to hit targets. So, and that's just working on feel. So that goes back to that point entirely. So let's get back to the betting odds and field analysis here. We left off with Tony Finau and Wyndham Clark at plus 3,300, Sam Burns, Russell Henley plus 3,500, Billy Horschel, Trot Golfer's favorite golfer, and Corey Connors at plus 4,000, Justin Thomas and Aaron Rai at plus 4,500. Got Cameron Young, Adam Scott, Sung J M, Sahith Theegala at plus 5,000, Jason Day, Akshay, Batia, Robert MacIntyre, Davis Thompson are all sitting at plus 6,000. Matt Fitzpatrick and Shane Lowry at plus 7,000. Christian Bezadenhout, Ben On, as well as Will Zalatoris and Nick Dunlap at plus 7,500. Brian Harmon, Taylor Pendrith plus 8,000. Alex Noren, Denny McCarthy, Keegan Bradley plus 9,000. Max Grazerman, Thomas Dietrich, Sepp Straka plus 10,000. Eric Cole, Siwoo Kim, Tom Hoagie at plus 11,000. Austin Eckroat, Max Homa, Cam Davis plus 12,000. JT Poston, 15,000. Chris Kirk, Adam Hadwin, Steven Jagerbaum plus 20,000. And Matthew Pavon, the Frenchman, is at plus 22,000. So with that said, who you got, Buttsy, this week?
I got Finau. I got Xander and Dunlap.
Wow.
I think Dunlap, this is going to be a more calm week for him. I don't think he's going to have the same nerves, and he's fucking good. And why not see somebody like that, like just
dark
break
horse?
Through. So
I like that dark horse. I will say this: I don't see him winning. If he was so stressed out last week, and I get it, you want to get into the top 50. You really like, and you put yourself in a position to where you were in contention for that tournament. I get that, but if he gets into contention again, dude, that is a big deal, and he needs to be very high up there in order to make it through to Eastlake. So I'm going to say that Nick Dunlap, probably not a win, but could be a good one for like a top 10 as a bet, right? So yeah, I like that. Sure. Good dark horse. I'm going to go, because Scottie Scheffler knows his yardages so well, and he's probably going to have his track man out there working on his numbers and everything. Probably everybody is looking at their numbers for this week, trying to figure out. Yeah. Yep. I think Scottie knows his numbers so well that Scottie, if he finds a little bit of form this week, after what I saw from him last week, I think Scottie Scheffler is going to win this week. I do like that Colin Morikawa is working so hard on his game, so I would keep an eye on Colin Morikawa. Viktor Hovland, to me, is another one that I'm like, ooh, this is interesting. Like, is this his circadian rhythm, so to speak, to where like this is his calendar time of year, to where all of a sudden he starts playing his best kind of golf? Yeah. So I'm curious to see.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That could very well be true. This is where he, whatever's going on with the magnetism of the earth and time spent on the golf course, he just starts getting it done. Yeah, that's a good point.
All of a sudden, so I like Viktor Hovland. And then I'll add in one more as well. Wyndham Clark, folks. Wyndham Clark. This is going to drive some people nuts, but
you did that on purpose.
I do think Wyndham Clark is going to be a top 10 this week.
All right.
So those are my guys for this week. And then the question that I do have around this whole entire FedEx Cup, and I said I'd get to a different kind of answer to the setup of the FedEx Cup. I posed this question on Twitter as well as on Instagram, and both are very similar in terms of the results. It was about a 55-45 mix between... Do you believe the FedEx Cup would be better if it was a match play event? And what's crazy is it was 55 in favor of match play, 45 not in favor. So I pose this to you. Do you believe that the FedEx Cup would be better if it was, think about it, this would be the one match play event, because we no longer have the WGC match play event.
Right.
There's no match play that goes on the PGA Tour right now.
I mean, I don't know, man. You're at these events based on the efficiency that you've portrayed over 4 days of golf for months on end now, and then to change that up and give a guy that maybe wasn't as efficient the chance to do that in match play. I don't know. I don't think it speaks to how you did all season, because match play is so much different. That's kind of where I'm at on it.
Yep. I'll put it this way, and somebody threw it out there of a similar type of setup to the US Amateur, to where the first two legs of the FedEx Cup would be stroke play. So you go from the top 70 down to the top 50, let's say, And then you've
Yeah.
got your final pairings in Eastlake. And I don't know, is that your top 8 guys? Is it your top 16? I would say top 16 would probably be pretty freaking good. Like, didn't they have like 60 some odd players or something like that for the WGC? Like, I can't remember, but they played a lot of golf over that week for the WGC match play. Like, there was 36 holes a day sometimes. Like, that's a lot. I'm not looking for that, but I am looking for that final tournament to be, and maybe the first place guy, like a Scottie Scheffler, gets a bye the first round.
Yeah, like he's bought that with his play for sure. I mean, I think look, from a fan point of view and viewership, I think we would all rather see match play if that's what we're talking about. But to keep in line, like I said, keep in line with the whole what you've done all season. I don't know. It's tough from a player's point of view. I think from people watching it though, yeah, who doesn't? I'd rather watch match play every week, to be honest with you, between the guys out there than stroke play. I don't know where you're at on that, but
I've always been a big, and here's the thing. Here's the other end of the spectrum. Dylan
more of a
Vaudry,
fight.
one of our audience guys, has mentioned that no match play. I feel like it's much slower. He said not as fun for a watcher, but here's the thing. I've always been a sports guy to where I like to see people go head to head. I've
That's what I'm
never
saying.
loved golf as a leaderboard where somebody earlier in the day could all of a sudden come out of nowhere and win. That would not be something that that's just something that I don't love necessarily, because I want to see the guys play each other, look each other mano a mano in the eyes, and have
Correct.
that fear
I'm with you.
factor of a Tiger Woods, to where all of a sudden it's like, all right, let's see what you got. Let's get after it. And
Yeah.
I do think that would be a lot more entertaining. Now, the other side to this, Trot Golfer mentions that the match play doesn't reward the season-long play. That's pretty funny.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, it could though, because if you're going from the top 70, top 50, like Scottie Scheffler's going to get through, right? And if you go from the top 50 down to, let's say, the top 16 players, and you give a first round bye to Scottie Scheffler and maybe the second place person, and then you're playing based off of each person's rankings,
yeah,
that should
again,
be a little bit more fair. And here's the thing. This gets back to, NBA, MLB, NFL, like it's same thing. Like if you lose in one of those head-to-head matchups, even though you had an incredible season, you're going to lose.
Yeah, and I think to your credit, that's how you would have to do it. But is that credible to how they played all year? Like, is that enough to make up for being in the top 10 all fucking year? Like, probably not. Like, even if you get a bye, that's still not enough of a purchase for me to like warrant it.
Well, that's the thing. I think the branding's off. I don't think this should be a season-long deal. I do appreciate, like, who knows, like, who's the top FedEx Cup points guy in the middle of the year? Like, are you paying attention to that? Like, who's number 13 of the FedEx Cup rankings? No, you're not really paying attention to that. So to me, I don't mind the point system of the FedEx Cup because that could lead to good rankings. And that could be kind of your season long that brings it all in. But I don't love the fact that the branding of the season long, I'm kind of with Scottie Scheffler on this. I feel like if it went down to match play, the whole entire thing of the FedEx Cup could be built around it being mano a mano. The best players on tour going head to head. And Trot Golfer brings up a good point here. You could have it be best of 3 matches. So you could have.
Then you got, hey, like your consistency, will shine through at that point, you could say. And I will agree with that. Maybe the whole format and branding of it is a little ass backwards. Like, just make this the end of the year finale. It's like NASCAR, like this is Daytona. Like, this is the Super Bowl. This is the end of the year hoorah, and it's worth a lot of fucking money.
Well, they got to differentiate this, right? And I told you, I would get you hyped about the FedEx Cup somehow, some way. I feel like if it was match play, it'd be a lot easier to convince you that this is an exciting deal. Like, because there is no other match play going on the PGA Tour right now.
No, you're right. And I would rather watch the dogfight type of round like you would.
Couldn't you imagine having a best 2 of 3 match play between, and I do like that truck golfer, so I'm stealing that for the moment, but let's say that it's best 2 of 3 between Scottie Scheffler and Xander Schauffele. Who's not going to tune into that?
Yeah.
Rather than Scottie Scheffler with a 10-shot lead, like, or get a head start of 10 under versus Xander Schauffele being 9 under, like, and playing 4 rounds of golf.
I think they should just toss Brooks Koepka, Cam Smith, and John Rahm in the end of the year too. Like, sorry. Yeah, maybe this is the event where LIV and the PGA Tour come together for all the marbles.
Well, could you imagine if it was like Eastern Conference versus Western Conference?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it'd be pretty.
You've got the 2 sides that battle, and then all of a sudden you've got the final between 2 players.
Whew.
LIV Golf versus PGA Tour. And then FedEx Cup can be the full on sponsor like that. You know, I knew Anti-LIV was going to chime in with this way. He says no.
That was for him. No. Yeah, that was for him.
Absolutely not. Trot Golfer does mention that how about having mics on the golf bag? And here's the thing, Anti-LIV's not going to want to hear this, but LIV Golf has that.
Yeah, and it's great.
It is pretty good. I like the conversations between the caddy and the player. It's pretty damn good.
I like the drone footage. I like the, hey, here's a good shot. Here's where he's at. Boom, another guy. Like, 100 golf shots in 5 minutes is pretty cool.
As we are talking about match play, let's get into the U.S. Amateur this year, because this took place at a very historic golf course in the Hazeltine National Golf Club in Chaska, Minnesota, known for the following events. Oh, Minnesota. Kind of Canadian in a little bit of that accent, you know?
Yeah, I don't see. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, they held the 1970 and 1991 U.S. Open, 2002, 2009 PGA Championships, which, by the way, you know what was interesting about this? 2002, Rich Beam held off Tiger Woods to win that. And then in 2009, that's when what's his face? Oh God, I'm gonna forget his name. Is it KJ Choi? Yeah, KJ Choi held off Tiger Woods. Isn't that the?
It's only happened a couple times.
No, and it was the 2 times that he was held off. I'm pretty sure it was KJ Choi, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Oh, Y.E. Yang. I don't know what. All the
Yanger
folks, you're gonna get me in trouble here, but yeah, Y.E. Yang was the one who held off Tiger Woods. That was very impressive, by the way. I don't even know. I think he didn't speak English and didn't really know who Tiger Woods was, and that's why he was able to hold him off.
It was the only. He didn't get scared.
That's right.
He had no idea.
Dude.
KJ Choi. No, it was Y.E. Yang.
Screw me, man. Like, F me running, because literally I'm sitting there just saying the one name that was popping in my head that was Asian, KJ Choi. I don't know why I wasn't thinking Y.E. Yang. So anyways.
If it was an Asian guy, let's run down the list. Okay, You got KJ Choi. Who was the dude that used to wear the cowboy hat?
Oh, gosh.
The white
I know who you're talking
hat.
about. Ishioka or whatever his name was. Gosh.
Ishikawa? No. Oh, my God. We're going to have to talk about that later, yeah.
You know, Austin's giving some props to the mid-ams, and Cody Massa, I believe, and Brand. I don't know Brand's first name, but some AZ guys there. Now, as we continue in, Hazeltine has also had the 2016 Ryder Cup, right? That was a big Ryder Cup. You had the 2006 USAM, and then the 2019 KPMG Women's PGA Championship was also at Hazeltine. So the event saw a field of 312 players from 36 different countries, with 64 players advancing to the match play after 2 rounds of stroke play. And some of the standout players did include Gordon Sargent and Jackson Coven, both ranked highly in the World Amateur Golf rankings but it was Spain's Jose Luis Ballester,
Oh,
who plays for our local Arizona State Sun Devils. Football season's right around the corner. I'm ready for the tailgates. But history was made by him winning the championship. He became the first Spaniard to claim the Havemeyer Trophy, and he defeated University of Iowa's Noah Kent. Noah was 4 down early on before making a huge comeback. And I watched this all today, or not today, yesterday. Watched it all, and I was really impressed with this Noah kid. The crowd was clearly behind this kid. And that's where, the Spaniards coach is Sergio Garcia's dad. I didn't realize that.
What?
And he was actually there, and he said the crowd was so raucous in favor of Noah Kent that it reminded him of the 2016 Ryder Cup.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that was
bold.
that was interesting, but the coverage also is very heavily kind of favoring Noah Kent in a lot of ways as the American kid. So I found that to be pretty interesting. But this Ballester kid, his short game is unbelievable. And I know our guy Kyle from Cart Barn Guys, he posted a clip of all the clips that he had of Ballester around Papago, which is ASU's home course, and all of his short game stuff. And man, this kid has a dirty, dirty short game.
I like his golf swing. He's got that little bit of lag going on in it. Like it's tasteful.
It is tasty.
Yeah.
And he bombs the ball, so he hits the ball a long way, and then his short game's really good. That's pretty much a recipe for success, folks.
That's how you do it.
That is how you do it. You get yourself in play, and then if you do happen to miss an iron shot, your short game's going to save you, and it certainly does for him.
You get a PXG Tour head, and you hit it 335. Like it's tough to touch that. I'll tell you what.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be real interesting.
Dude, I'm gonna start calling you Matty 335.
Oh, that's a good name. I wonder what area code that is.
Oh man, that's
a good question.
We got some weird places here on the pod.
Yeah. Now, also, Ballester is not, and this kid does have coxie. This kid has moxie. Trot Golfer brings that up as well. But he does swing that thing. Now, with Ballester, he's not like, it's weird because you don't hear of him as being one of the very top amateurs in the world. You hear a lot of Gordon Sargent, you hear a lot of these other kids. But Ballester, he won the 2023 European Amateur. So this kid clearly knows how to win. And I definitely think that, playing in the Open Championship this year, he got a feel for it. And, Trot Golfer also brings up another good point. Trot Golfer is basically our researcher on the podcast, okay, folks? He went to Titleist TPI to get dialed, and they said, "We have nothing to add. You're the most efficient golfer we have ever seen." You know what's crazy about that? I also heard from the PXG guys today that I was very efficient. So that's fantastic.
Here we go, man. We cannot. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Matt swings at 96 miles an hour and produces 335 yards of carry.
It's crazy.
It doesn't get. First guy with 1.7 smash factor, and that's not even something that the machine reads.
I was actually topping out at 87 miles per hour club heads.
Stupid. Oh shit, that's funny.
Oh, let's keep it moving, keep it grooving. All right, so that's the U.S. Amateur. Jose Luis Ballester. Noah Kent didn't go away though. Noah Kent brought it all the way to the final hole, 36, or to the 36th hole of their match play. So he was down. He was 4 down early, worked his way back, got to 1 down heading into the 36th hole. Ends up losing that 36th hole. He made a mistake. Ballester had a birdie putt. The kid was chipping off of the green, had a tough chip. So, 2 down is what Noah Kent loses by to Jose Luis Ballester. And that is your U.S. Amateur recap for 2024. Now, let's quickly move into the Swannies Style segment because I do want to get to LIV Golf Greenbrier as our final piece here. Man, this is a long-winded one. But
Yeah.
the Swannies Style Segment, and this is very live driven. What do you think about Brooks Koepka wearing a different outfit than everybody else on his team due to his Nike sponsorship?
Man. Has Brooks Koepka given a shit about anything like that in the last 5 years?
No, but I'm curious what you think. Because, like, if you're on that team, you got to be like, dude, why are you wearing something different than me? Everybody else is wearing the same shit.
Because there's another $120 million that I got going on here that you don't. So what would you do? Oh, shit, I wear the same outfit, Brooks. I got it. Okay. Yep. I mean, I'm sure he didn't do it to be an asshole. There's reason behind it. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, he had that Nike
over there.
sponsorship before going to LIV, and then Nike carried that over. He was one of the guys that Nike kept, because Nike cut a lot of guys and moved on from them, including Tiger Woods, which I'm sure that was just a massive, massive contract anyways.
Yeah.
That, like, all right, if Tiger's not bringing in the money he once was for Nike, I could see them moving on. But, you know, that was an interesting thing of Brooks Koepka to continue wearing all the Nike stuff and not allowing that sponsorship to move on, even after he got all that money from LIV. So, yeah, you know, Dylan Vaudry mentions that shows how little the team thing means. And
How
here's
little
the
the
thing.
team thing means to some of them. I think it legitimately means something to quite a few of the people out there.
I agree that some people have fully bought into the team aspect. I never really expected. Brooks Koepka's always kind of been a lone wolf. And if you talk to, especially caddies on tour, who knew Brooks coming out on tour was a very different Brooks than the Brooks he became. Brooks got very, Brooks was a very humble kid coming onto the tour. And this is the story that I've gotten from multiple caddies, by the way, who have been in the same group and have been along Brooks Koepka for the period of time from him coming out of Florida State, working his way onto the tour, and then from there kind of becoming the guy, so to speak, or who he thinks he is. And it's night and day, the personality. And he really did become a lone wolf to where it was him versus everybody else. So I don't think Brooks necessarily has bought into the whole team aspect.
Oh, it's kind of like, kind of happened when he went to Nike, right? That's kind of when that whole facade started. So maybe it was a publicist or something like that changed what image he was putting out. And then at some point he just fucking believed in it. Like, I don't know. You know, I don't know.
He always kind of shit on everybody. Like, once he got good enough on tour and had a big enough name, he kind of started shitting on all the golfers who were kind of non-athletes, so to speak, that, you know, grew up playing golf and didn't really play any other sports and aren't really athletic, anything else other than golf. He kind of had a big ego against those kind of guys. And that's interesting. I mean, I'm kind of with him because, you know, there's certainly those guys that kind of are part of the nerd herd, but, you know, and are non-athletes and have never played anything else. Like, I was a kid that grew up kind of like Brooks to where I played everything, every type of team sport. But that being said, let's segue from Brooks Koepka with the Swannies Style segment into the LIV Golf Greenbrier recap, which Brooks Koepka won his 5th LIV Golf event, and it was against none other than Jon Rahm. And they ended up going into a playoff against each other. Now, upon first thought, which I was heavily watching the PGA Tour coming down the stretch with Hideki Matsuyama almost blowing it, to where LIV Golf Greenbrier I stopped paying attention to for a little bit and had to go back to the recording, which I love, by the way. I love that I can just go back, rewatch it on the LIV Golf Plus app. And from there, I rewatched it because initially I thought, oh, Rahm blew it. Like, Rahm did not, like, I just thought that he choked under pressure again. And that was not the case. When rewatching it, Jon Rahm is back, okay? In form, looks great. However, one thing I will say is that Jon Rahm, he's still looking like he's figuring out how to be comfortable under pressure again. Like, it's unfamiliar for him right now to where he won the UK, but he won it shaky, right? LIV Golf UK wins that event, but it was a shaky win. Then you got him being in a big lead at the Olympics, falls apart. With
Is
this,
it comfy? Sorry.
Go ahead. No, you're good.
I was going to say, is it comfy under pressure, or is it comfy, or like learning how to take the LIV Tour seriously enough to get his juices going to where he turns into that guy?
That's a good question, and I'm glad you posted it that way, because I think early on that was the struggle for Jon Rahm, was getting enough competitive, kind of getting over the fact that he just got paid a boatload of money and like doesn't really care about golf right now. That kind of showed, like, he kind of eased his way onto the LIV Golf circuit, right? And he felt the consequences of that, even though his talent level was so good and he had been playing at such a high level that it kind of carried him through.
Yeah,
and
I think what we saw this week is none other than like Brooks Koepka got his fucking loins going, got the Rahm juices going. He went out there wanting to. I think he probably thinks that Brooks Koepka is still one of the best players in the world. And hey, whether it's fucking LIV or the PGA Tour, like, I got to go beat Brooks Koepka today. I'm fucking fired up.
And that was the cool thing, is that we had a great leaderboard coming down the stretch. Brooks versus Rahm, obviously, with that dynamic. But Rahm was 2 down with, I think, 3 to play and ended up coming back to push it into a playoff, which was great to see. However, as I'm talking about Rahm getting comfortable, so he needs reps being back in contention, because what it showed to me in the playoff, they played the 18th, which at the Greenbrier is a par 3. Not a tough par 3. Rahm ends up nuking a shot. So what does that tell you when all of a sudden you just bomb it over the green? Tells you that, your adrenaline's going and you're not used to that. And you make a mistake in hitting a shot too hard. And that is comfortability under pressure that I'm talking about. That is reps under pressure that he necessarily hasn't had. And he's starting to figure that out again. And he was able to be comfortable during regulation, during the actual round, to get into that playoff. But once you're in that playoff, again, there's another adrenaline rush that comes, a different level of pressure, and you're going against the clutch Brooks Koepka. So that becomes a big challenge. And the question that I have for you, let's say that Brooks versus Rahm, they play in a playoff 100 times against each other. What's the outcome, you think?
Oh, man. 50-50, dude. For me, I think they're both got that dog in them. It'd be real close. Something, 49-51. I mean, you're not gonna have this heavily teeter-tottering thing one way or the other. Maybe Brooks by a hair if it's just 1v1, maybe a little, but pretty equal.
Brooks is clutch, man. Like, that's the one thing you can't take away from Brooks Koepka. He is clutch. He stared down Jon Rahm in the playoff, ends up winning it. I mean, he hit the shot that he needed to first, which put pressure on Jon Rahm to try to stick it into that back pin position, and flew it. So that's where, once again, Rahm is, to me, is just a couple of reps away from being in contention to where he will be clutch yet again, because he's been clutch as well. And I think Jon Rahm getting his juices flowing again, I think he's back from that perspective. So watch out for Jon Rahm in the final event that will be in Chicago for the final individual event. And that's going to be an interesting one in and of itself. But before we do that, let's go over the LIV Golf leaderboard rundown, which, again, Brooks Koepka finishes first, Jon Rahm second. They both finished in 19 under. Third place was Jason Kokrak. who is on Brooks Koepka's team. He finished at 18 under. Then you got T4s with Mark Leishman and Richard Bland. Good old Dickie Bland is having himself a year and a half. Pretty good.
He is
on
playing
Dickie.
pretty good. Yeah.
Yep. And then, quick segue. Track golfer just mentioned that the gentleman you were talking about, the Asian cowboy, by the way, is Shingo Katayama. Shingo. Love that guy. Love that guy.
Yeah,
Yep.
he was fun. Like the Asian Chi-Chi Rodriguez.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which, R.I.P. Chi-Chi, he passed away recently.
Yeah.
Getting back to the leaderboard rundown here for LIV Golf, we've got Sebastian Munoz and Lucas Herbert, which Sebastian Munoz, he's one of those original Lab Golf guys with the DF 2.1, the mothership that that Sam calls it from Lab Golf. But he played really well this week, and it was good to see Lucas Herbert play well as well. Then you got Louis Oosthuizen, who on Sunday almost went ham, He was on the path to 59 and did not pull that off, but he finishes T8 with Sergio Garcia and Cam Smith. So again, and there were more guys as you go down that everybody was kind of in contention for the most part. So that was pretty cool to see that Sunday stretch from those guys. Now, the leaderboard rundown for the teams, Smash GC, which is Brooks Koepka's team, ends up winning it at 53 under. Then you got Ripper GC at 50 under and Legion 13 at 42 under. Got a dryness in the throat. We've been talking too much. Now, with Smash GC winning it, which, by the way, both last week, we missed just a little bit. We said the player and the team of the winning player was going to win. Just so happened to be not the guys that we talked about. So it ended up being Brooks with his team, Smash GC, which we talked about Graham McDowell last week with the suspension. The timing of this, terrible for Graham. Misses out on a team victory. John Catlin fills in. And my question to you is Smash GC a better team without Graham McDowell?
Oh man, I don't know. You gonna throw up over there? What's going on? Get a little sippy off that white man jug of fury right there.
Man, that dryness. Once dryness gets in the back of the throat, terrible.
Oh, dude, you kill me. That fucking jug. You can just have a big water bottle. Not Matty. He's got the fucking deal.
Dude, 32. We're going big, baby. You can't hit bombs without a big fucking tumbler.
You went to Sportsman's Warehouse and bought that thing for sure. No.
You know what the great thing about this thing is, too? Is the straw. Okay? It's a metal straw, and then it stops here, and it becomes all rubber. You got to love a great straw.
Looking for a little sponsorship here, folks.
I don't think this even has a name brand. I think it's just straight from China.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're doing a good job. It looks fucking nice. I mean, I don't have enough knowledge about either one of those players. Like, I know Graham. I don't know Catlin. I don't know how much or worse of a player he is to really make a call on that. But
John Catlin's pretty solid.
Seems like they're better. Yeah, obviously. With how they did this week. So
I think if you asked Graham, he would be like, I've had a rough year.
Yeah.
He's had a rough time on LIV overall, if you ask. Now that I think about it. So anyways, getting back to Graham McDowell with his suspension. I do know that you talked with a source around this as well. And it is pretty much, is it safe to say that it is confirmed that he is the fall guy in all of this?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'd say that's very safe to say. For certain.
So everything we were talking about last week as to, hey, let's put on the tin hat, let's get into this conspiracy theory mode and everything. Well, folks, we were not far off.
Well, apparently this nasal spray, the Vicks,
the Vicks.
There's 3 different batches. One contains a med that achieves the same result. The other one contains a med that does the same, but will, even in smallest dose ever, set off an amphetamine profile
You
on
hate
a
to
drug
see it.
screen. So yeah, so your Adderalls, cocaine, all that shit. If it's close enough to when you've used it, it's gonna activate that stuff.
Yeah. Gray McDowell just doesn't seem like the guy that's ripping rails out there.
No, no. Or taking a performance enhancing drug at all. If you're talking about him ripping a warm Guinness, probably could say that's happening. But outside of that,
Okay. So that wraps up LIV Golf. Okay. They're not back until LIV Golf Chicago, which is in another month. So 3 weeks, September 13th through the 15th. And these long breaks, they do not seem to be working at all. They drive me freaking mad. I don't know about you, Buttsy.
the same. It just, I really love that I can turn on the TV on a Saturday if I'm bored or whatever, or on my phone if I'm waiting on the golf course. There's a fucking tournament on. That's not the case with LIV, and I wish it was. It would help them out greatly.
I'm with you. So we're going to end it here, folks. Once again, Swannies.co, pull hook golf 25 at checkout, 25% off your order. Thank you, Buttsy. But until next time, peace out, everybody.